right from your Android or iPhone. Download the Radio K-Man app now on your Android or iOS phone.
The Radio K-Man app
is where you can listen to Radio K-Man everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiokman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio K-Man everywhere.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio K-Man's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio K-Man's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. As we start the new year off right, we invite you to be a part of our discussion. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Shane Nobi Edwards will sit with me for a bit. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio K-Man's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks, for the time to get away for a bit, spend time with family and friends, to reflect and reminisce. In that pensive state, sometimes we appreciate what it is that is important, and we make choices, and choices are made for us. Other times we didn't even know what has happened until it has transpired. 949-8037, 949-8037, or 1-800-534-8255. We invite you to be a part of the discussion. Nobody's going to sit with us. We're going to chat. I'm going to invite you to share your thoughts with us. It's a new year. The new day is dawning, and as we go into this one, we're hopeful, mindful, and prayerful that it will be better. Not only because we deserve better, but because we're going to give better, do better, help ourselves, and help each other. Now they say, if serving, if serving is below and beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. Think about that. We always hear about the servant leader, but how many of us recognize the importance of service, service to country, service above self? Many a motto of many an organization, but how many of us take it to heart and use it in our daily lives? So important, I think, that we show humility as we seek honor, and as we go about our lives, we recognize that there are challenges and opportunities. The question, are we looking for the diamonds in the rough, or worse yet, are we looking for the diamonds in far off seas and lands, or are we actually looking right within our own backyards and unwilling to dig for them? How many of us understand the importance of what is right before us? They say if we take care of the tree, the fruit will provide for us. But how many of us don't even recognize that there's a tree that needs to be nurtured? And when there is, we bulldoze it down, we chop it down, we break off the limbs. We get it now without any care or concern for later or for others. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. There is Hey, WhatsApp. That's still in use. 925-3261 if you want to share. He makes his way from the east. He dresses and dons in the purity of white. He reflects, the hard work and the ethos and ethic that is the Naya man. So, my good friend Obi, how are you, man?
I'm okay, man. You got to stop bigging me up as well.
Oh, man.
I was told by Craig, the Honorable Knighted Craig, that I shouldn't go on air with a white shirt because I'm going to glow too much.
See, that glow is the prayers and blessings of your grandparents. They would be absolutely proud of you, man. And you reflect, what it is that we do for our children. We pray for them, we pray with them, we teach them by example to be better. So, Craig, I don't should pay much attention to what Craig says. Oh, he's a good fellow, man. When he's riding.
He's riding.
Riding away from me. But it's that laughter I think we miss, right? And too many times amidst all the turmoil and trials and tribulations of life, we find it hard to find the joy.
Sometimes it gets tough. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody.
Amen, brother.
Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Blessings to you, man.
And hopefully we can get through this one. I feel personally, kind of sad to know that our friend is actually a little hurt right now.
Yeah, man.
That's Mario Rankin.
Prayers are with him and his family, man.
I hope things turn around.
You see, this is where I think many times, we look at the pastor and the politician, even the school teacher and the parent, anybody, but especially those who may have a great sense of responsibility. The parent, right? Just start with the parent. Got to get up every day, go to work. Got to fight illnesses. Got to, do what needs to be done in order to provide for the child, the family, the household. And it isn't a false sense that we put on our smile, but it's a sense of calling that which isn't as if it were. That sense of saying, I want to project greatness, goodness in order to succeed, but not just succeed by the measure of the dollar, but succeed by showing that there's grace, there's provision, there's protection. And when people see that, I think they ignore that person may actually be going through, for want of a better word, a rough patch. Things may be terminal, things may be serious, but if you smile, if you put forward the joy, it may bring joy to others, man.
Yeah, true.
Not always easy, but
not easy.
You remind us of the smile.
No, but it's tough.
Yeah, man. I look at the last 2 weeks in particular, the celebrations of and by many. For some of us, we ate more than we probably ate, in our entire lives. Some of us were so happy to see family and friends, and yet some of us couldn't. And when we did, we couldn't embrace them for different reasons. Things transpired that were unexpected, beyond, we say, our control. And yet, we move forward. How? Well, by the grace of God, or we shall persevere, and we shall succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are definitely should be thankful right now.
Yeah, let's be thankful, and let's be sensitive to what is before us. Let's be sensible in our actions. I'll invite you to share, from your expertise and experience. And I would maybe encourage others to start to think and hold ourselves, not just each other, hold ourselves accountable.
Let me just say, I'm only an expert in suffering, nothing else.
Well, you know what? We're going to raise the bar, because I think, like you, like many of our own, and we can say, it's because of the historical context. We beat ourselves up. But I want us to move beyond that, and more importantly, I want us to stop beating up each other. We are our worst enemies.
True.
We're glad to say, like crabs in a barrel. And some people say even like black crabs. We're not even just saying crabs, we got qualified. But hang on, you ever seen, people working together and you say, okay, team building exercises. They put in a space, they'll get to the top. And they form a human ladder of some sort. Sometimes the success comes by getting others to the top, and hopefully and prayerfully and with that sense of constitution within us, that when we get there, we don't say, oh boy, bye-bye, I see you. We remember where we come from, and we reach down, we pull others up. And if for some reason that's not possible, right, that one goes on and succeeds to build for others to come, right? The sacrifice of the many for the success of the one, so that future generations can share. But no, man. So let's Let's flip the script. Let's not be like the talking heads and the political pundits who tell you that there's alternate truths. Let's speak the truth. Let's do the right thing. Let's start now.
There you go.
There you go, man.
Let's start right now.
Well, you know what? I wonder to what extent.
But we got to call someone out today.
What? Where they hit, man?
Yeah.
I want us to maybe look in the mirror and start with that person there. And call that person to account. Right? A person that we see looking back at us. Whether we put on our makeup, for those men who do, or whether we're shaving, for those men who do, look at that person and call that person out to greatness, to goodness, to kindness, to a sense of love and appreciation, respect, reverence, honor, integrity, as opposed to what seems to have been the mantra for so long. And if I might, and I'll be guided by you and others, and we invite you to call and share, because in the new year, we say and do things. A good friend of mine said the other day, he's going to open up a gym. The first 2 weeks is going to be filled with all the best in the technology when it comes to weights and exercise and training. And after that, he'll take out all the equipment and replace it with a bar. Because it seems to be, we fickle. But let's go to the phones as we come back to our conversation. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dwayne, and Happy New Year and all that good stuff.
Happy New Year to you, man. All the great stuff to come to you, man. Through the blessings one high.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus. Yeah, I thought I just heard you mention something about, somebody mentioned something about Mario.
Yeah.
Is he okay?
He will be.
You can't say nothing, okay.
Yeah, we're not clear.
He'll be fine, man.
Okay.
We pray.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, my friend, but I pray for everybody, so God is good. And boy, I told you, he healed me about this wonderful, miraculous healing. He healed for me, so I tell everybody, just trust the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding.
In all your ways, acknowledge him, man.
That's right. And when people say to you, boy, you better go see that doctor, you better go check a doctor, I mean, it makes me... It is so ridiculous when people do things like that, but I trust in God and I give him thanks and praise every single day of my life. And he kept me happy and healed me.
Amen.
Anyway,
Amen. Blessings to you, man.
I was thinking about something
the
other day now, and I said, like, when I see the number of people that I don't know how many foreign nationals we have in Cayman right now. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I think it's good if you do it right. I think what we have to do is to make sure that no one group multiplies too fast. Because if you're a number, that's what the thing is. If everybody got an adequate or kind of equal proportion of the population, then things can work good. But I think we're not used to all this stuff happening in Cayman, and we got to be very careful.
Work together, man. All right.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks, man. Thanks. Blessings to you. Bye. All right. Let's pause. Take the first break, Nobi, and see what comes in the trolley.
Yeah.
The phone lines are open, though. We want you to share your thoughts with us. 949-8037. Toll free with the kind compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. And WhatsApp 925-3261. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert, available for limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic, your life connected.
As we head into the new year, the team at Travel Cayman want to say a very special thank you to everyone in quarantine and isolation from the people of the Cayman Islands. They know how painful it can be to sacrifice the time with loved ones, especially over the holidays. The community is grateful for all that you are doing to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. Thank you for stepping up in these tough times. The goal is to protect all those who are vulnerable. This may include faces you do not know, but also many that you know and love. Visit www.exploregov.ky/coronavirus to learn more about the resources available. To the persons in quarantine or isolation, the Travel Cayman team would like to wish you a happy and healthy new year.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. And it is the sort of first official program for this new year. I think it's a Tuesday. Nobody's here to make sure. He say he counts. He doesn't read. I can't understand. But thank you for coming in and keeping the company. And I'm hoping that through our discussion today that we're going to focus on a number of things that are important. Collectively, as a society, we start to value and appreciate that what is bad doesn't have to continue to be. What is better can even be improved if we're working together, right? And that we give thanks because tomorrow is not promised to anyone. So what are we making of today? Not just to swell our bank accounts or to get some other, what's the word we use these days, gong. It's not that. It's about, a legacy that is meaningful, that generations can look at and say, that was a forthright and honest person. And that's what we're looking at, man. So maybe we take care of the environment, maybe it'll take care of us, and we don't have to run around with gas masks.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Cayman is so expensive. You gotta make sure you make the money to live.
well, I won't dispute, the necessity of, adequate income.
Yeah.
But our parents told us what their parents practice. A penny saved is a penny earned, right? So if we can reduce costs, we can find a way to increase our disposable incomes, right?
Yeah.
If we can improve the quality of something so we get more usefulness of it, it adds greater value.
I was quite impressed to see that I think the Honorable Andre Ebanks, I think he has announced there was some post I saw. I can remember that there's going to be some assistance for or grants for special businesses. And see what's going to happen there.
I think
I can't remember the full post, but something around the lines.
One of the words in his ministry.
So that's going to make things better for a lot of people.
Innovation, right?
They're adding on what's happening and trying to make it better, right? So.
And I think as a people, there's no question that we are industrious.
Yeah.
That we're resilient.
Yeah.
There is innate entrepreneurial spirit within our people.
Yeah.
As young men and boys, even in primary school, we probably were doing things that showed a level of of business acumen. Hucks and cook nuts and sell them to people long before that was a fad. We were doing things that showed ambition, drive, determination. We wanted something out of life. We didn't just sit down and hoping that the heavens would pour it out in our laps. We were prayerful, we were thankful, but we were ambitious. So there is that drive within our psyche. I'm asking ourselves, are we prepared to look, like the Honorable Minister Ebanks, innovation and true application of our talents, of our people, that we put our treasure, right, to meaningful use up all the valuable, scarce resources that exist, and more important, use our time in a productive way. In a positive way. The outcome, man. What we can achieve. It's just, it behooves us to do better because the next generation deserves, and our parents, a sort of respect for their sacrifice. Where would we be but for that? It's so disheartening sometimes to see the callousness of some of us.
Yeah.
We look at the picture on the wall of ourselves, and you go into some of our homes, man, and it's all filled with little trinkets and mementos of material collections of fleeting little things. They look good. They will look great on that little thing that we publish when we die, that we spend a lot of money for. But what's the purpose? You know, it means nothing if there's no substance in what we do. And sadly, some of us don't have style, and yet we profess to have substance. I don't know, my friend. Let's work towards what's good, huh?
Yeah. But going on another topic, like, have you looked at a budget, a $1 billion budget? Are you know?
Yeah, man.
You saw the line items on that budget?
See, that's what I like with you. You're able to look at the macro level, right? Look at the big picture, and then you can go down and analyze it line by line.
And sometimes you have to.
But some of us don't even do either, right? So, as you wish, as you look at it, $1 billion. I mean, we have individuals, according to published reports, with wealth, you know, many times more than that, an individual. And then we got some countries that don't even have a fraction of that budget. So it's relative. But what are we doing with that? What are we getting, right? And what are we expecting?
Well, they say it's the people's budget, so let's see. And a lot of line items are there, but what we have to consider is how are we gonna meet the budget? How are we gonna pay all the pay everything out? And you know, that's a concern considering where we at. But I must say, it just seems to me like opening the borders have brought a lot of people on the island. And you know, I'm pretty impressed. On our side in East End, there's quite a lot of people around doing different things, renting. It just seems to be like 2020 before the pandemic. I'm seeing people around.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. You know, hopefully those kind of things are gonna add to the economy. But I just think the budget is a little steep.
Yeah.
And there are some line items like, just me. I'm just talking about this $21 million for restoring the public beach. You know, whose benefit is that? Yeah, they're going to say our benefit, but you know, that's just look at it. Yeah. So you know, my only encouragement for most people out there is to don't just look at the bigger picture of what is being proposed and all what they're saying. I know that every government is trying their best, but you have to also look at the details of what is outlined and what is going to be spent on. Is it truly a people's budget? Yeah. If it is, then you'll see the results of it.
So let me ask, right? This is why I appreciate it. And hopefully people are listening, especially those who may feel a little bit pricked at what is said here, there, or anywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to get a lot of prick, I know.
Yeah, but that's fine, right? And as we listen, let's listen attentively, actively listen. Let's be constructive in our responses. That one item, $21 million. If there is one thing in the budget that I've heard repeatedly, that's the one thing. Pick the person, you know, name the person, describe the person, whether they've been here for a length of time, whether they go back generations, whether they're young or old, or young at heart, or male or female. That was one that popped up. And it's not just the amount of money. One question that was asked, well, does that mean that we'll have better access, unfettered access to the beaches now? Will that be addressed? You know, we're going to restore the beaches, great. That's a small sum compared to what the beaches supposed to bring to the economy in terms of attracting. But will we get to the beaches?
Well, let's just say that with the introduction now of the Public Lands Commission, of course, the Public Lands Commission is going to ensure that people have better access to the beach and or accesses to the beach, which is what we would all expect, right? But because remember, prior to this, right now, or a couple of years, there was no Public Lands Commission.
No.
So that was really up in the air. But now there is some entity at least that can look out for the interests of the people.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you know, I just don't see why $21 million had to be put aside to restore. So it's probably not going to be guaranteed.
That's the other question.
And on top of that, restore what and where?
Where? See, those are the questions, right?
You know,
I mean,
you know, so
yeah, we've got a couple of calls on over here.
Yeah, cool.
Let's go to the phones. We're thinking, we're talking, we're acting, we're proactive. Hey, good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling.
It's a pleasure to hear your beautiful voice, Dwayne.
Hey, blessings, man. Thank you very much for that.
And my brother from the East, you know.
How you doing, man?
Pleasant New Year to both of you.
And to you, my friend. Blessings there.
Okay. One thing I was calling about, Dwayne, and I guess it goes right in, along with what you guys are talking about, access. I'm a transplanted West there, living in Savannah, Newlands area.
Condolences, man.
And yeah, I know. The traffic makes me feel that way this morning as I commute back to Georgetown, to my place of business, you know. And I was thinking, being a civil engineer, there's actually only one, well, there's a number of factors, but there's one major problem, and it's from halfway on to what we used to call Smith Road. I guess it's light to Smith Road. That's one lane in each direction. From there all the way to the roundabout at Halfway Pond that goes across to Jose's. And, you know, for the world of me, I cannot fathom all of these years since that road has been developed and why we are still waiting for two lanes in both directions. And I did a little research, and I've come to find out it's because one family that owns a horse ranch is holding everyone east of Georgetown captive and complicating the lives of everybody traveling into town. And, you know, no one family, no matter who they are and what stature they hold in society, should actually be allowed to do that to the mass of indigenous Caymanians who need to commute and get to work. That's just, you know, one of the things this year that's going to be my pet peeve, and we're going to find a resolution to it because the road has to go in, and whatever needs to be done to allow that to go in will have to happen.
But I think we understand, I believe, even in the last public state utterance from the House of Parliament, apologies. I still getting used to calling ministers and cabinet, not exco, so I'm getting there. But one of the things that we understand is that has been now addressed and on the cards and should come to pass.
Well, you know what? Promises, Dwayne. And, you know, we actually need to be more vocal about it. We need to constantly be in the ear of the politicians. And when they don't fulfill their promise, then we as a community need to speak out against it and continue to do it. Because guess what? It's been now over 16 years since that road has gone in. And 16 years later, we're still waiting for the road to be completed, two lanes in both directions.
But I think,
and you know what? That's much too long to wait.
Yeah, you make a very valid point again, as usual. There needs to be the clarion call from the community. There needs to be that collective voice from all of us. Not expecting the politician to do everything or to have all the answers, but to sort of be like, what is it they talk about in computing, the crowdsourcing? We together putting forward, you know, viable solutions and have a concerted voice as to what it is that should be championed. And here's one good thing to make sure comes to pass, as you said, you know, 2 decades almost on, and we still, you know, seemingly held ransom.
Correct. My son was born around the time the road went in. He's now almost finished university. And, you know, I'm just saying, it really shouldn't be taking this long for something that everybody east of Georgetown needs, and those people who are in Georgetown need as well to commute east, or to the eastern districts, I should say. You know, and I think it's ridiculous to see something take this long to come about. But I'm glad to know there's been utterances from the current Parliament, and we hope that those are actually, we see them in the not too distant future come about, you know?
Yeah, man. And hopefully...
Because I don't think there's any piece of road in the Cayman that would have the impact on relieving stress and allaying people's delays in getting to work like that piece would.
It definitely would, man. And I'm, you know, always positive and optimistic, but as you said, you know, faith without works is dead, so let's try to get to work and get it done, right?
Yes, and I think that's one thing that we really all need to see come about.
All right, well, you make that your pet peeve and you keep championing that and keeping it in the public for. All right.
I certainly will do that.
All right.
And all the best to you and your co-host there.
Thank you, man. Blessings to you, man. We'll catch up soon, huh?
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Yeah,
all right. Go to a point, then we take a call.
Yeah, well, I haven't checked the section in the budget relating to, development or the NRA. I don't know if they have it fully outlined, but they should outline the different road development areas that they're going to work, or projects they're going to be working on.
Yeah.
But definitely, I do think though that it's kind of a twofold thing, or probably threefold, because I don't think traffic is just going to be alleviated just by building a road, right? It can help, but I think that it has to be alleviated by a number of things, and one of those things is minimizing the number of people or cars on the road. I know everybody want to have 3 cars, and everybody that comes here want to have a car, drive back and forth, but what we're seeing is we're spending more and more into the infrastructure for all of these cars, and at the end of the day, it's just too much. Too much. So we got to minimize it somehow, and it has to be a tough call.
Well, this is where decisions need to be made. Let's take one more call. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling. Dwayne. Good afternoon, Obi.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
How you doing?
Happy New Year to you. Bye.
Amen.
Happy New Year to you too, man.
Happy New Year, man.
I'm chuckling there because I know Nobi would like the bicycles,
yeah, of course.
But the thing is, if they had a good way of transportation, and I say way because there's several different methods that can be used or developed, then you could alleviate the amount of traffic on the road. However, having 3-4 cars, I've not seen a person yet drive 2 one time.
Yeah.
So,
but what happens?
It means to me, looking at it from a blind eye, there are more people than on the island than what they're saying that is here.
Okay, very, very, very true. But do you think that we should allow everybody that comes here on a work permit to get a vehicle?
A big no.
But why not? Why not?
Not only that. Those people are allowed to bring in cars, you would say repeatedly, year after year and month after month. What are they doing with them? They're bringing in to sell them. They're making a living and better off of selling those vehicles.
Yeah.
And they're not paying any taxes. We're paying the taxes. They're not. And Nobia, on another note, the beach reform.
Yeah.
Now, government has made a move, you will say, with restoring beaches and stuff. But like you said, whose benefit is it for? Because we're only allowed to the high water mark anyway. So basically, we can stand at the surface of the sea and put 1 foot out, and that's the high water mark.
Yeah.
So we actually have no beach.
Yeah. Well.
So they need to address that and put the high water mark to the vegetation.
But that's what it was before, right? And that's what the expected practice was, right? But then, that green invasive plant that we brought in, you find some people now have taken and effectively used it to grow, from the road into the reef.
Yep, that is true. But there can be a footage determined on that. So we need to have that, because you go to the beach, to a beach access. You get, let's say, 10-foot wide beach access, which is most of them. Some are bigger, but you got 10 feet. You put 10 people there. That's back out to the road.
Yeah.
Because the beach access is public area.
Yeah, but the point is that you can get to the beach, and then you allowed to walk along the beach, so you can line up along the beach.
No, you're allowed to walk along the sea coast.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask something though,
I agree. I understand what you're saying.
You make a valid point, right? And as I listen to you, I'm sort of walking along the beach now, and there are a number of properties that have rope-looking material with wood-looking posts, and they're sort of fenced in a little area just beyond the vegetation, some closer to the surf than others, right? So there is this sandy area, and then there is this fence where, okay, this is private, you can't move beyond that. Restricting even further the usable sand that we can, walk on, sit on, and play on, and what have you. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm going to give you one that is illegal, and the planning department has never addressed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's up there by the Frank Sound launching ramp.
Yeah, okay.
There's a wall that went straight out to the sea.
Mm-hmm.
This has blocked even the high water mark where you could walk across.
Right.
Nothing has been done, and this is probably 9 years.
Okay. So what should they do about it?
What they should do?
Mm-hmm.
You compel the man to move it, or we move it and you pay for it.
Okay.
Exactly.
But isn't there another one by the Old West Indian Club? We've seen videos for those who used to walk the beach would find on a many occasion that you got to swim out to the drop off to get around there, right? If you go in from one end of the beach to the next.
Well, the thing is down there, starting Dwayne, the beach has eroded anyway. So where is the high water mark now?
Right.
Or was?
Yeah. So the question is, right, I mean, we can't ring the bell. And I don't know if you've ever done this. I used to enjoy helping my sisters and parents when they were planting out trees and stuff. I didn't select them. I didn't decide where they went. I just got the exercise of digging the holes, right? And sometimes,
that, right?
I honestly did, I'd be honest, I'd take the iron crow and the shovel and the pick, and I would go into it, man. And now, sometimes they would dig a hole and they say, you know what, I need to be moved 2 inches over here. I'm like, really? So they move from one spot to the next. And the hole was only sometimes a couple inches deep, sometimes it was a couple of feet. But he could never fill that hole back, no matter how hard I tried. And for years and years, you could see that little indentation right there in the yard. So
yeah.
we now have walls that are alleged to be the problem. We have jetties and all sorts of things jutting out into the sea. But we do nothing about it.
And the thing about it, Sterling Dwayne, these have gone down illegally, and people jump up and say, oh, we didn't know we could. No. Don't give me that line.
Yeah.
If you come to me with that line, you're going to get charged more.
Right.
In my opinion.
But is it then that we say, do as I say, not as I do? Think of the parent, right, who was a smoker and now is saying, I stopped smoking because as a child I want you not to smoke, as my example. Or the parent who has a cigarette.
Example in a sense.
Right? And so we have, back to the little fences that I referenced just prior. We'll walk along the beach, and no disrespect to any property there, including the government-owned property that houses the governor, right? Respect the privacy of these people. If we have all of that along there, how can you say to one, you got to remove it, but to the other, well, you get exemption?
Well, hold on a second. Now, you brought a point there when you call the governor's place. According to the laws now, where is the high water mark? Like I explained before. You take 1 foot out of the sea, and that's your high water mark.
Seems so, yeah. According to that application.
You're right. Go down by the governors and see how much beach they allocated for the people of the Cayman Islands. It is, I mean, he's about, I would say, close to 300 feet from the water where they got their back fence.
Right, and if you,
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and if you go further up, you'll see some that are almost in the water. I mean, there's all sorts of things that are happening, right? The same sort of fencing.
But this is what you call consideration for people. I mean, the governor of the Cayman Islands or wherever we're dealing with Cayman. So the governor of the Cayman Islands, he has all right to say, hey, look, I'm going to block this down to the sea. I don't want nobody near my, you would say my back door.
Why? What do you think that?
Because of his rank.
So...
No, I'm only saying this is what he could have done, or any of the governors prior to him. but they allow people to be able to enjoy the beach and the water in front of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe this is an opportune time, as the caller prior talked about, looking at things that, we had a discussion about moving the governor's residence. Maybe this is an opportune time to do that now.
No, I would leave him right where he is.
I mean,
he is, I mean, in my opinion, just as much right to that beach as anybody else.
No, but no. I mean, that's not the issue. I was just thinking of what you were alluding to relative to security, if that was a concern.
I'm not saying anything about security. I'm saying about privacy. Two different things.
For some, one and the same,
No.
No, I'm not saying that it is. But I say for some, it's one and the same.
But what my point was, the government or governor, I don't know who is in charge really of that said property.
Mm-hmm.
But they have never ever said that we're going to extend this further down so that we can have more privacy to our property or to our backyard or whatever. No, they've kept it where it was from I was a little boy that I know about it, and has never ever moved it. But yet you get Johnny come in here, and if it was left to them, which some of them do, they put it in the very sea.
This is the point, where are we going to draw the line?
Well, we have to draw the line, and I think so far it looks as if the park government is doing that. I mean, yeah, it takes time. You won't see everything overnight.
Mm-hmm.
But at least now they're trying to, you would say, undo what has been done for years.
Definitely, man. Definitely something that we need to do collectively and responsibly for now, and the enjoyment, safety, security, and stability, for generations to come.
Anyway,
yeah,
I'm
man.
gonna hold you up anymore because I think you got to go to a break now.
There you go, man.
Stuff,
But always a good chat. Thank you for sharing, and all the blessings to you.
Same to you all.
Good.
Yeah, man.
All right. News break, Nobi. Phone calls to take. See what happens when the man from the East brings in the. As far as I take the news, when we come back, more talk today.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's spread the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Ministry of Social Development distributes extraordinary grants to non-profit organizations that serve the community in the social development space. Funds went to the NCVO, the Crisis Center, Meals on Wheels, and the Hope for Today Foundation. Turning to international news now. The U.S. has recorded more than 1 million new COVID cases as officials warn the peak of a fast-spreading Omicron surge is still to come. The more than 1 million new cases were reported on Monday, the highest one-day tally of new cases anywhere in the world. That according to Johns Hopkins University. The Omicron variant accounts for the majority of cases in the U.S. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo won't face criminal prosecution over an allegation that he fondled an aide after a prosecutor said Tuesday he was dropping the case because he couldn't prove it. 3 days before the Democratic ex-governor was due to answer the misdemeanor charge in court, a county district attorney said he was asking that a criminal complaint that the county sheriff filed in October be dismissed. And a set of California twins born 50 minutes apart are already distinguishing themselves with different birthdays. Big brother Alfredo Trujillo was born on New Year's Eve, while his sister Aylin made her debut on January 1st at exactly midnight. Identical twins aren't always genetically identical, new study finds. According to the hospital, twins born in different years is about a 1 in 2 million chance. Those are your headlines. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. This year, a new rule was placed on fishing for grouper that says no one can fish for nass or grouper anywhere in Cayman from December 1st to April 30th while they're spawning. There is also no fishing allowed at all for any kinds of fish in the spawning zones and no scuba diving there either. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. Nobi comes and gives us his company and his counsel. Let's take the caller. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Happy New Year to you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Happy New Year. How you guys doing?
All right, how are you?
Excellent, excellent.
Pretty good, Nabi. Making the best of a bad situation, but thankful.
It'll get better.
I pray it does.
Amen.
I was listening to that caller there in regards to that wall up there at Franktown Junction. I remember faintly when Mr. Miller came on to the radio, was talking about it, about putting that wall up there, and also the one in the front of his house, And as far as I can remember, they say that the one that was on the beach side would be removed after the house was finished built. But I doubt very much that's going to happen because, if they had intention of taking that wall down after the house was built, they would not have built that type of wall. You follow me?
Mm-hmm,
But I faintly remember Mr. Miller discussed that on the radio some time ago. That one and the one in the front of the house that is so close into the road, and I understood him that the individual said that something in regards of when the house was finished built, the wall was going to come down. But wall coming down. Just a couple of days ago, went down to the old Royal Palm to enter onto the beach to see what everybody's talking about, all these walls and out in the water and so forth, And when we went down onto the beach, then Royal Palm is a disgrace. That need to be barricaded off completely. It's a right to the beach, believe me. And when you look down going towards Marriott Hotel, all you could see from Royal Palm is pure walls. And when you look to the right, going out down to the like the Ritz-Carlton and so forth.
Going towards West Bay. Mm-hmm.
Right, your hometown.
Of course.
When you look going down that direction now, there's a wall built in the water. So that new beach site there, what's it called? Right next to Royal Palms, there's a beach, some new beach bar there. I can't even call the name of it right now, but you all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, well, they got a wall. They got like a seating built out of rocks in the water, and it's part of their entertainment there. I didn't go over there, but you could see people up there on this high up end of this cement wall that they got made there from it looked like stones, and it is sitting out in the water. So if I wanted to walk down there, I'd have to go out into the water. I don't know how much far in the water would have to go, but I have to go in the water to walk down to the rest of the area. This is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Where have we got lost in this beach and this island and these little baby access beach for we little poor people, they call us. It is a shame. It is a blasting shame to see what we have come to. You could have gone down there and find your cocoa plums, your grapes, and your Christmas tree, and you name it. You can't even go down there and walk the little beach entrance they got because they're so small. You can't even barely carry a chair in between it. You know, we all asked for this and we got it. That's what I got to say about it. We asked for it and we got it. Now to get all of this corrected, I do want to do all the correction, but I wish I will, and I would like to join them when they're ready to correct some of the stuff that's going on with this beach.
Mm-hmm. Well, you sit down and nothing stated or done, that'll be the cost and consequence of what transpires, right?
That's right. But anyhow, you guys have a great day and time.
All right. Thank you, too. Thank you. Have
Bye.
a safe, wonderful day. But Novi, your thoughts. I mean, the idea is hopefully through dialogue and discussion, there'll be a sense of respect and appreciation for someone to look and say, okay, this wasn't the intent. I didn't realize this was the perception. And sometimes things are said, and it's not that it's meant to be, inflammatory, but unfortunately it can come across as such. Not meant to be disrespectful, but it can be interpreted as such. Sometimes we just need to do the right thing. But let's hear from you. I mean, what are you thinking?
In terms of the accesses
and anything and everything, man.
It's just unfortunately we have laws. I say unfortunately because it just seems like no one's following the laws.
Laws with no enforcement.
Yeah, no enforcement.
Mm.
So I don't know. And when you try to point out that there are laws and we should follow them, not a lot of people seem to care. It seems like when it comes to planning, you can go after the fact and say, I'm sorry, I'll pay my fine and I'll change it.
Easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
So I don't get it. There are a lot of these obstructions going on around the place, and everybody talks about them, but nothing is happening.
Possibly.
Yeah.
No enforcement of laws and regulations.
Yeah.
Possibly misunderstanding, misinterpretation, even application.
Yeah.
So confusion. As a simple example, I've been told, especially these last few weeks in particular, of instances where people have gone into restaurants and you wear your mask presumably to enter, sit by the table, and then you take it off as you are seated by the table to have your meal. That's my understanding how it works, right? Only to be told by some of the supervisors, the managers in the establishment, you need to keep your mask on at the table, to the confusion of the dining patrons and the like. And I'm thinking, well, what is the rule? What is the law? What is the and it would seem that it's selectively, sort of suggested, depending on the color and the flavor of the table. Again, you're wondering why. Is this a misunderstanding on the part of the person? Is this person's personal sort of fear driving this thing, or is it just a bias?
I just think that it's a. I don't think it's a bias. I just think it's misunderstanding because it is very strange to me to understand too. You get in, you walk into a place with a mask on. You get and sit down at the table. You can take your mask off while you have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing at a bar.
Yeah.
What's the point that you keep a mask on or take it off?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're opening.
Right.
And that's at the risk of people going to the bars or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But people just got to be sensible and reasonable with what they do. You can't go up in someone's face and speak and that kind of stuff, right? So you gotta be sensible. But it's I mean, I'm not saying there might be some biases because I'll be the last one to not think that, because I've seen it so much times again and time again, and maybe we don't see it that often here in Cayman, but when you go to other places in the world, you see things happening. You can't tell me it happens there, and those are the people coming here, and it doesn't happen, right? But what I can say is I believe the whole mask restriction is very strict, very tricky.
Yeah.
Just like they just stopped an event a couple of weeks ago, and then a few nights after that, another event went on at the same location. So how does that happen?
I mean, New Year's Eve, you see a big gathering at a certain place. We do have a couple of calls, right? Let's take these calls.
Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon to you, fine young Caymanian man.
Good afternoon, Mom. How are you?
And Happy New Year.
Happy
Let's
New Year.
hope and pray that this one will be a safe and blessed one.
Amen. Amen.
I'm not sure what your topic is today, but I heard my good friend, Miss Jan, calling about walls on the 7 Mile. But I am really concerned about the cemetery at Spots. Now, we all have loved ones buried there, and as I was out in my garden this morning enjoying my beautiful plants and flowers,
it
just gave me an input to come and say, we have to keep the graveyard at Spots Cemetery looking like a garden, because I know all of the dead people that are buried there would enjoy the flowers every year and any time of the year. But I was taking a bouquet there to my late husband's grave in the Christmas, and my daughter said to me, Mommy, can you step over this fence? And I said to her, do you want me to fall on my face on one of the graves? So we were walking on the side of the road, and the cars were like they were jet skis, just zoom, zoom, zoom. And we had to walk sideways. I am wondering who is in charge of the cemetery at Spots, and I am appealing for them to close the gate on the main road and put a gate from the parking lot where the cars park for the beach, because I know it's not only me one that see that there is an accident going to happen, and I don't think we would like an accident to happen there at any time of the year or any time of the day. So I am appealing to anyone that is in charge of that cemetery. Please, we need some action this year, 2022. It is too dangerous, and we would not want anything to happen to anyone that is going to put flowers on their graves there, or they're going to clean up. We definitely need a gate from the parking lot and not from the main highway. So I am appealing to anyone that want to side in with me or voice their opinion to join me, because we have to get this thing. Actually, it's been a burden on me from the last 2 years, and I am telling anyone now that we have to get it done, and we're not going to wait till yesteryear or the years before. We have to get it done 2022. So anyone that's in charge or they want to call, they can call, and if they want my number, I can call back and give my number. But I am telling you, we have to definitely get something done. And we don't want it done like the middle of the year. We want it done right away. Thank you for listening, and you all have a nice day.
You too, Mom. God bless. All right, let's take one another call. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome.
Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year to you.
Anyway, it was a lady some while ago that was talking about down by Royal Palm, and the building there next to that is Coral Sand. I was working there, and where that wall is now, the hurricane that destroyed down Nicaragua. When that hurricane crossed, it used to be 3 sets of beach chairs on the beach, and after that hurricane, all the beach just leaves, and then to go around there by dark, you're to your waist when it's high tide. So those walls that is there was there before the beach was being lost. I used to work there, so I'm telling you the fact about that.
Right.
So it's not that the wall's been built there recently. The walls have been there.
So do you?
The beach has been lost after that hurricane.
Yeah. So in your view, as many people have alleged, the walls make it more difficult and perhaps contribute to the erosion. In your view, that's not the case, you think?
Yeah, because like if the walls wasn't there, the sea would have access to lap and back and forth, and it wouldn't. All the sand wouldn't leave.
Oh, so the walls are making it worse than you think?
I think so, and eventually the walls gonna be gone.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it's something that I think, as we've all said, we need to kind of look at it consciously to see.
And you know, like, to be honest with you, I think that it's a waste of money for government to be putting to try to repair beaches. Whoever the property is for, let them do it.
Well, there you go. That's what we're talking about, the $21 million.
Let them do it. Whoever is the property owner, let them do it. And the money that government will take to spend on repairing beaches down there, put it to better use. And I'm a true-born Caymanian, and you guys have a nice day.
Thank you.
You too, Mom. You too. Yeah. But no, we.
Right.
Yeah. No, well, basically, I can agree with what the lady is saying, but when you sit down and you think about what tourism has been doing,
right,
and their input in probably lands in trying to ensure that they have nice beaches for all of the resorts and in that area, because it's so much people there. Maybe that's the reasoning behind the government putting so much money out. But again, this is what people have to do. Review your budget, understand what they're spending money on, and if you have an issue with it, then point it out. Let them explain themselves, or let them come up with another alternative. Because I really do think that's quite a lot of money to spend on trying to do something that I don't know we will ever achieve to retain the beach, when we should be enforcing what we talked about, the planning laws, that you shouldn't be building walls so close to the beach and all those different things that might have caused it. But in her case, she said the walls were there a long time. But the other walls, I don't think were there a long time, all the way down. And all of that has an effect that goes all the way back up, right?
Maybe the proper assessment.
Yeah.
And you just said, acknowledgement, enforcement. We take the break, and then we come back to that.
You sure?
Yeah, man. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
All right, good.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
The coconut industry on the Sister Islands boomed between 1890 to 1915, with annual exports exceeding 1 million per year. In 1906, the industry peaked, with the Sister Islands accounting for the entire export of the Cayman Islands. A coconut disease had previously killed off all of the trees in Grand Cayman. The industry was so successful that the government of the day went as far as to impose a special export duty. However, on Friday the 13th, 1915, a hurricane of unprecedented severity devastated the island of Cayman Brac, rendering most homeless, and decimated 98% of the coconut trees on the Brac and 40% of those on Little Cayman. To add insult to injury, the coconut disease that struck Grand Cayman would soon arrive in the Sister Islands. During the 1920s and 1930s, efforts were made to revive the coconut industry, but the efforts were modest, and the industry failed to reach its previous level of prosperity.
Information from this historical vignette was sourced from Founded Upon the Seas, A History of the Cayman Islands and Their People by Michael Creighton and the New History Committee.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. And again, a blessed, happy, healthy, safe, prosperous, and wonderful new year to all of us. And I'm grateful Nobi sits with us. But listen to this discussion all along. Whether it's the beach access, the expenditure of money to do certain things. We're talking implications of man's actions on the environment. Sometimes even the way we build a road or expanding a road or different things without consciously maybe understanding how that may cause a negative consequence. But we just wonder, what says though?
Well, you know, I'm always about the Collier's Pond.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm at it again. Yeah. So until I see this being preserved, it's going to be always going on. But I came in here last time and I was blaming the developers for putting up a wall, all this. Then, to my surprise, I realized that what was going on is that our Caribbean Utilities Company was putting up some poles. So they're changing the poles from the seaside to that side, right, where the pond is. Now, I asked someone at NRA. They had no idea what was happening. I don't know, maybe the agreement just tells them that they can go and do what they want to do. But just reminding them, from my understanding, that the area that they're putting up these like poles, because it looks like they've stopped moving, putting stuff. I don't know, they might be up tonight, today or tomorrow. But that area is right next to the pond, and my understanding is that the International Protection Body, it stated that there shouldn't be any development or erection of anything within, I think it's 300 feet of the pond. I know we have a road there, but how messed up, or how much clutter does it create for you to put all of these light poles on the side of the pond? That just doesn't. I don't get it. I guess they want to save their poles or what have you, right? And maybe the developers on the other side have convinced them to put it on the pond side so they can have all that beach area, right? I don't know. Something is going on. But at the end of the day, I really think that the government should step in and actually ensure that the protection, whatever it is, requirements or regulations that are set out there from the international body is put in place. Again, this is the reason, this is clearly the reason, a big part of the reason why I kept telling people, or been asking people to support me with this, in that the government try to take out that 20 acres of the pond, the Collier's Pond, and ask to preserve it to be government owned or for the people of the Cayman Islands, that people can access it, but we know the restrictions. We can't do any developments there. It'll be there for the birds, it'll be there for people to take a look and to see. Because here we are, potentially, if the international body comes and says, this is within 300 feet of this pond, you have to remove them. They already got the poles up there. How did that happen? How did it happen? If this is what I was telling somebody, it's protected by an international body. So they're overseeing everything, and this is a big company, right? That probably has the right to do this on the side of the road. Do they know that it's protected like that? I'm really looking forward to see what's going to be done with the Collier's Pond and with this recent development that I just saw. Yeah. Right? Because the poles are along the whole stretch of that.
I think as you have referenced repeatedly in recent times, what I believe is happening in our society is that we are here busily going about our lives, that we no longer see what's transpiring before, right in front of us. And Collier's Pond, for instance, a beautiful setting. I'm really grateful to you, to a good friend, for reintroducing me and reminding me, hey, stop for a second. You drive across this full speed, you focus attentively on the road, but you don't pull over and go look at the birds, look at the pond. And it's that reminder that I think we all need to have to take a respite.
Well, also, right, this is what I got to say to the representatives that might be listening. And the people might be thinking that this makes no sense. And again, we go out and we go to the Stingray City, and someone tells us Stingray City is great for our tourism product, and these are stingrays are in a particular area, let's protect it, right? We go and we see the coral. People say coral is something we need to protect. Yes, I agree, protect. But yet we have something right on the land that needs to be protected for several reasons, and people don't see the reason behind it. So let me just put this part in. Since we had guests that have been coming to Stingray City and telling us about it, guests have been telling us about our coral, I can tell you I have a lot of guests that are coming from the Kimpton, the Ritz, and other areas that are taking my tours. And when they see the sign that the developers has there to sell the property, they're disheartened. When they see the property and they see and the pond and they see the birds and stuff, they are surprised that it isn't protected by the government. So at the end of the day, if that helps anybody to make their mind, because me as a Caymanian trying to point this out to people doesn't seem to be getting across the message. So maybe some more people need to come and start telling people or talking to them and telling them this is a good thing to protect. Because it just doesn't make sense.
Maybe it all comes down to, as you share now, I mean, take the sandbar. The stingrays out there, Mr. Urdis and others, like men before him, would go out, and what became just a way to watch the children while the fish were clean became a practice over generations, that we have this congregation of people and of stingrays, right? But even that, the level of protection, it's been alleged that the stingray barbs, in order to make them safer, would be removed. Doesn't matter by whom, right? It's been alleged that some of the stingrays over time have been scooped up and shipped off to other competing destinations. So again, enforcement and protection, but appreciation for what you have. You hear the local operators complain that seemingly they're told when and when they can't use it and how they use it, without maybe a consciousness as to not only their livelihoods but their practice and respecting the cultural norms. Is it then that we are taking what seem to be first world practices in our minds better and superimposing them on a traditional society without any sense of respect for what is there? And then when you flip the coin over, you find in that we're then taking the less than accurate awareness of people and abusing them.
Well, I think what it is that everybody's in the mindset that we need development and development is good. And everybody, it seems like our authorities or our government agencies believe that when someone comes in that has money and they make a proposal, how they're going to replenish the environment and how they're going to do this. Listen, keeping the environment the way it is always better than replenishing it or rejuvenate it. It just always better. Not that it doesn't help for people to plant new plants and all this. This is great, but once you move something, that is it's hard to get it back. So my thing is it is a financial factor, it's a development factor, and a piece of property opposite it, if you go and if anybody is traveling, this is one of the areas in Grand Cayman that still has a beach view, right? And it's up in East End. A lot of the areas up there, sooner or later, we're not going to have any beach view. I understand because people own the properties, right? So maybe all of this restructuring is to help that property value or whatever. But we need to have to think about how do we develop Cayman in a more, planned way and preserve certain areas. And I'm not saying we're gonna preserve everything, but we need to preserve certain things that give us some life, that provide something with our culture, with our
Would
environment.
It not be better if that preservation was more than just a picture in a museum or a book, that we actually could see it? I look at migratory birds, for instance, and over the years, just the people that live here would share that, we saw this particular bird, or this time of year you see these birds. Now, we have attempted to try to monetize the value of the reefs, the value of sharks, the value of different things that would attract people to come and visit and spend some time. Maybe if we did the same for birds and the birders and the like, we would see that. But what about the responsibility to a species as inhabitants of this land? Supposedly, as people, we're supposed to be, a little bit more intelligent than the regular bear. But we seem to be the ones who are destroying it just openly and wantonly. So what about our responsibility? But what about the enjoyment of those who live here? You work in 6-7 days a week, sometimes 4 or 5 months on end with a break. You get a little time off. You go down by Collier's Pond. You get a Sunday morning or Saturday afternoon, whatever it is, just to clear the head, take a photograph. But there's a value to that.
But what I've said in the past, I'll say again. We need to. Not only do we have the sea in Cayman, we also have a good natural environment with flora and fauna and birds and what have you. And what people need to do, what needs to be considered is protecting some of that so that we can see it. And there are a lot of you would be amazed at the amount of people who are I've seen that are very conscious of separating plastic and glass and other stuff, very conscious about the environment. Even on my tours, I've had people on my tours picking up plastics because they feel that that's the right thing to do with the environment. And then people who are very appreciative to see the birds in the natural environment in such a small island.
But let me then ask, right, because I say this and I'm hoping that it won't inflame people necessarily, but it will get them to sort of stop and see, does it apply to them? We know, just like you mentioned with your guests and your tours, we know that there are us in our households, there are co-workers or neighbors who are very conscious and very, very, very conscientious when they go about looking at trying to keep the environment clean and doing the little cleanup around the area without any fanfare, right? But there seems to be some of us who, for whatever reason, we just driving, riding, walking along, and we toss whatever's in our hands along the roadway.
Yeah.
If it's noticeable, you ever watch a group of people, whether it's you in your household or friends or in your workplace or whatever the activity, and you clean up a stretch of road, public highway or a byway, go back the next afternoon and look and see if that space is not littered again. Now, either the ground is pushing it up or we're walking along tossing it out. Something's happening. We need to change that ethos, that mindset. Is it disrespect? Is it contempt? Is it begrudge? Is it stupidity? I mean, nastiness, laziness? What is it? I say that and I know people are going to say, "Ooh, well, he used those words," but it's not to cause us to do anything other than look at what we're doing. All right, some calls to take, Mr. Fox, and a break to take as well.
Yeah.
Nobi, man, you bring good joy. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Just talking.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert, available for limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
The Ministry of Education invites eligible Caymanians to apply for overseas government scholarships for the 2022-2023 academic year. To apply for an overseas government scholarship or learn more about the various scholarship programs, please visit the recently upgraded scholarship application portal at www.moescholarships.gov.ky. Applications close on Monday, 31st of January, 2022.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And in the studio, we have the good company of Nobi. Some callers online. And we're going to listen to the callers and we're going to talk and encourage more discussion. So good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling. Hello?
Hi. Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Good afternoon. How are you? Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to Mr. Nobi.
And Happy New Year to you, man.
You recognize my voice, man.
I got
the name over the radio.
I got you now, man. I got you.
I put it on. I'm on lunch hour, so I put it on, and I heard your voice, Nobi, and you're always stirring up, man.
Yeah, boy. Yeah.
But in a good way. I love to hear you on the radio, and I love your passion, and I am here to support what you're saying in terms of the environment and.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Us having to try to do something about it. I was in your neck of the woods trying to give you a shout, but I was just more passing through.
Oh man, I understand, man.
Yesterday, and they just wanted to speak on that. Yeah, that big piece of property that is for sale. I think I caught the show a little bit late, so
yeah.
You may have been also talking about that property that we were discussing previously.
Yeah.
And I saw the signs up still, and I saw the beachfront, and I saw the big pond that it is close on the roadside, and I said to myself, I can't believe that thing has development up on the face of the billboard that they have up to sell the land. It just felt like a little bit of disappointment that that's something that is being put out there to destroy as well. And
yeah,
just wanted to put it out there that you have support in your thoughts of somehow getting the Cayman Islands government, in my opinion, to acquire that, or National Trust, whichever one, or even the private owners, making it something that can be given to the public in perpetuity, so that we don't destroy such a important, and when the generations that are coming up, when they look back at Cayman and see that it's all concrete or asphalt, at least an area like that they can go to and see what it was once like, and I think that would be so much more valuable than any development that would ever be put down there.
Yeah, you're correct, but they're saying that it's not going to be any development, but the no structures being built there, but the recent developments that I've seen is where CUC has put their poles right next to the pond. And that's what we were discussing earlier, that even though it's protected, no one has stepped in and really enforced what the protections, or to say requirements or restrictions, should be. And that's what concerns me, because we don't know what's going to happen next. No.
Okay, yeah. They need to make it very clear what exactly is the plan for the area, and make sure whoever owns it also recognizes, or whoever potentially buys it recognizes, that there are restrictions that cannot be changed politically, to fit into the agenda.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that something like that, the price on the real estate website that has it, I think it's in the $80 or $90 million price range, which is not too many people have that kind of capital or money to buy a property, and then for that price not to do anything with it. So development would be number one on most people that would want to purchase something like that. How they can make back plus more, right?
Yeah.
So, but for something as important as that area, I was thinking that what can be done. One idea is somehow government opens a fund up and asks the Cayman Islands public to be a part of that fund, and if a few hundred or a few thousand of us that care about the environment put in a little bit to purchase that and become owners in that fund, purchase the property, and then if it turns into a ecotourism site where you can do charge or tour stuff, you could get some generation of funds off of that, but just they can then pass those shares of the fund on to their kids, and their kids can pass it on to their kids. And I think that's one way that you can raise funds to acquire property at that size. The mechanisms of it, obviously, there's lots of stuff to talk about legally and all the rest, but that's one idea in terms of being able to acquire it. Otherwise, government does it on a long-term basis, which is long-term in the scope of the Cayman Islands public, acquires and pays it off over the next 100 or whatever. You know how they do the 99-year lease to the Ritz-Carlton, all those other places. I can't see why that's not an option to put out there.
As usual, right? I know a lot of people might not know my friend that's calling in here, but as usual, he's such a bright guy. I had the pleasure to work with him, and he always come up with some really good ideas that is really something that we should consider. And I'd like to thank you for that right there, because that's something that I think we should really do. Put sort of a fund together, and probably for the government to be a part of that and see how we can get it. But that's, probably that kind of stuff is too forward thinking for our government sometimes, right?
Yeah,
but we need to think that way, Yeah.
Yeah, we've got such brilliant minds in this country that I can see that if there's something that we really want and that we are passionate about, I can't see why we can't achieve it. So, you put that out there to all the school children that you can be a part of this fund, and you save your lunch money for a week out of the year. That's, a lot of these school children go $25 a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, of course, but some children, they would save their lunch money just to put into the thought that they could save a part of our environment and then to become a part owner in that. Right? We could raise those in less than no time, or at least come up with a plan to make it work. So just wanted to throw that idea out there and encourage the government that is in to look at in which way they can acquire that particular property in Easton, and then also continue to encourage them on the Barkers area to work with the current owners to put that put the Barkers area also in that.
Barkas, you mean?
Yeah. Barkas, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're calling me out for pronouncing it properly.
No. I call you for not pronouncing it properly. You see, they're three. Yeah, man, we need to do better, man. Pully Beach is Pully Beach, Barkas is Barkas, and Borbanu is Borbanu.
Right.
All right.
And then just one other quick thing. I know I've taken up so much time as it is, but one other place that I thought about was that piece of property right by the four-way in West Bay with the cabana that's protruding out into the water, and it's been a controversial piece of property for so long. And I saw where the current owners have planning approval to sort of redo it and almost leave the same footprint, but the whole and got approval to do something. But the whole issue with that was that it was put way further out than the environment can handle. And I mean, we see it shifts, of course, but you can see that this piece of property is a detriment to the whole 7 Mile Beach, and in particular that Bogga Sands area. I don't know if you are aware of which piece I'm talking about, but I think as the current owners, a part of me looked at them that, they have control over the property. Of course, everybody would love to have a little piece of the 7 Mile Beach and do something with it, but knowing that your footprint or your work is causing problems, I make a plea out to the owners of that to withdraw their plans, withdraw the redevelopment of it, and take the whole thing down and let the beach be. They own the piece across the road from it. It's a fairly private road. If they need to put up a couple of tables and a couple of umbrellas and put it on the sand and enjoy that and call it that. But to put concrete and put up another wall and structure to replace what's currently there, it spells greediness and selfishness. And I wanted to call that out because they have the control to not do it and to request for the whole thing to be taken down so that we can get the 7 Mile beach at least part back, and to talk about replenishing beaches that have been taken away because of this bad planning and the terrible foresight because of how far out structures have been allowed to happen. You know, that everybody that can control it should try their best and do their part and do it without having to be told. Like they can see what damage is being caused. They can hear what the reports from the actual scientists have stated and indicated, and yet they still want to go through it. And to me, that just spells greediness and you know, selfishness. So with that, I will leave you all. Know that.
Okay, man.
Fight, do your thing, and I hope that, you know, your voice is part of making things happen, and I'll support you as much as I can as well. And you know, hopefully the government will see what good that we're talking about and jump on board as well.
Well, I'm supporting you too, 100%. You know that, because I know that you don't speak out of turn unless you have a good point. And I try to do the same on my end.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much, my friend.
All right, thanks very much, man.
And Happy New Year to you both, and healthiness and happiness to K-Man.
Amen. Happy New Year, man. All right, quick call. We do have some callers, but we're going to just hang on as we take this break. Stay tuned.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years.
So much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And thanks to Nobi for coming on and sharing his thoughts. We do have a couple of callers online, and we are very, very glad that you are sharing your thoughts with us. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Dwayne, Bobby.
Yeah.
I did ask a stupid and a serious question on top of it. Up here by Education Department, where we have this new security system building, anybody having an idea what plan it was taking about when they made them put this humongous building here with no parking space? There are parks on the left-hand side and the right-hand side of this road here that takes you to everywhere else in this area. It is ridiculous. It is bumper to bumper on left-hand side and right-hand side. The parking space seems to be full. What's going to happen when the taxi stand ever opens back up here with these 30-seater buses? I mean, did government give them permission to park the way they're parking? The planning had that in their plan to make them park on both sides of the road when you're not allowed to park on both sides of the road. If that was me park out there now, the police would come and give me a ticket. You understand where I'm coming from? It is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. That place right now is neck to neck, and you can barely get into Education Department yard. And the cars are out there crazy, and it's been going on from the open, and it's going to get worse. I mean, what planning was thinking, who's going to clean that up, and that road need cleaning up because those guys have nowhere to park. I just thought I'd leave that with you guys because it's been going on from they opened that building there about, I guess, over 2 years now, or over 2 years and more, that they've been taking up both sides of the road and their parking space that they got the building on. So I'll just leave that with you guys.
All right.
Hope someone else will call in regards to it because it's ridiculous.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you too. All right, one more call?
Okay.
No? Yeah, let's take another call. Not yet. We got a WhatsApp, but go ahead, Nobi.
No, but it's nothing we can do with the planning situation. It's all planning, right? And it's all someone else that have made these decisions. So
what's that song? Check out the real situation. Nation. All right. One of our listeners' message says, another thing, I have some large grape trees growing next to my property, and the roots are growing towards my house, and my walls are cracking up. So I spoke to the owner, and he said that the planning told that they can't be taken down. Is this true? One, I'm planning to get a chainsaw and cut the roots into my property. But I appreciate that person sharing that. We live where we have adjoining properties, and many of us, sometimes the trees just grow up, sometimes they're planted close to the boundary, different reasons, and they impact the walls of around our properties, the walls of our homes. Limbs overhang roads, overhang properties. Considerate neighbors, but what about legislation and laws and protection for homeowners who are affected negatively?
Well, I also had the same issue with some of my pine tree. What is it? The Ponciana trees.
Was it Ponciana?
Yeah, they grow deep down. But at the end of the day, I'm one of those people who don't really mind about trees. Even my next door neighbor trees are over. I like the hangover unless it gets a little bit too much, right? But I don't mind that kind of stuff because I really believe in trees. I believe that it brings you a lot more than you even imagine. It's just the comfort and the
I agree with you.
Enjoyment of it.
But what about to that message and then to others who have had trees? We can see it hopefully if it's on a roadway, into the roadway and impeding and perhaps being some level of hazard. But adjoining neighbours and the trees and the roots and the like affecting the structure of walls, whether it's the property walls or the walls of the house.
Well, let me tell you, the other one is I had a huge problem with termites, and I had to get a centricon system. But the problem is that termites could create a termite nest under the ground, and that could damage your home significantly. So these are all the things that happen. It's just like nature out there somewhere. You know what I mean? The trees are a real big part of that. But if it is something that the two landowners can agree on and sort it out, I don't see a problem. If they feel there's that much damage, they should work at it and talk about it. I think what they're saying environmentally, they don't want them to remove it, right?
Well, that's probably too, right? We're getting a message as we speak to Nobi. We invite others to call, and this sometimes when it'll be interesting to put up what we get on screen somewhere. Maybe we'll consider that. One of our listeners has come across a situation on the Westwood Road, so that would be north of the Foster's Republics going towards the four-way, and it's on the west side. So there's this concrete column. This listener's reference has been erected at the edge of to the paved road, right, and showing up now where cyclists, pedestrians, and even potentially, it's right. There's the grass from the photograph, and there's the asphalt paving, and this photograph is showing this concrete column. So looks like a 4 block heights thus far coming up.
But isn't that the property that's owned by?
I can show it to Nobi, but it's just a photograph of it. I'm sure the motorists will see it, right?
Actually, that's too close to the side. NRA should be looking at that, to be honest.
Well, we do these things sometimes unconsciously.
There has to be a shoulder. There has to be a distance from the edge of the road.
Right. That's what 2 centimeters from the edge of the road?
Exactly, on the edge of the road.
All right. We do have a call, though, Nobi. Let's see what happens. Huh?
Okay. Well.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Warren. So, right, I was listening to your talk today. As relates to the trees, right, I honestly think they should be, if the trees are going to exceed a certain height, they should have a distance, or they shouldn't be on a property. Then if they know they're going to have a wall right there, they shouldn't be close to the wall on that property. Then, if they know the certain breed of a tree or whatever, and they know that these trees are known to grow of this height, And the next thing I want to also touch on is, I think that NRA and PWD to extent, they need to work together in with the cleanup and, to be honest, just making homeowners happy, because this has come up a couple of times. Me walking by, seeing these things, And don't get me wrong, they have done a very good job with the cleanup this year. And one other idea I was thinking, instead of having the idea one time, or instead of having the cleanup one time or so a year, why don't you have it all year round? So you focus on one district
very
for
true.
this month, or for a couple of months you focus on next district. So you'll also you also have people helping to clean up Cayman, and we want to continue to promote that Cayman kind spirit.
Very true.
So that was just my 2 cents. Just have it all year round. You have people hired.
Yep.
It's an idea.
Very good one.
Keep the country clean by constantly, and then maybe we as a people will chip in and not be so careless with how we discard stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you for that, man. Good point.
Well, let's work together. Let's make it happen, man. It's, as Nobi said, it's the people's budget, right? We are the country now.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts, my friend?
That's it, man. Have a good day, guys.
All right. Happy New Year to you.
See, what you point out there is a very good point. I find that communication between various departments is lacking in a lot of cases.
Yeah, what was the joke long ago? Road would be paved, and then the utility companies would come by and dig it up for it to be paved again. And people were just, making fun of it, right?
Yeah.
But communication.
And also, he made a good point about keeping a nice cleanup going on, because I thought that would be one of the first priority. I believe that what they should do is every district should have people appointed, and even if they rotate them 1 month, this set cleans, next month this set cleans, or what have you. But I think every district need to get a set of people to continue to clean up. And that would give income to those individuals who are employed to do the cleaning. The guys did really do a great job during this nice cleanup. I thought it was a good job, and we need to keep seeing that all year round. That'd be great.
No, I think
they should have put that in the budget for.
Is it 2 million?
They should have put that in the budget for cleanup.
Maybe
they got cleanup in there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But on top of that, though, I think it's for us as a society to take greater pride and appreciate the people that come along, whether it's voluntary, whether it's paid, it doesn't matter, right? But then we ourselves need to understand that irrespective of whether there's a law against littering or whether there's enforcement of it, that we don't do that. That just be who we are. That clean, sensible, conscientious people that don't discard our soda cans or plastic straws, whatever it is, just along the roadside.
But you have to have that mindset. When you have the mindset that you're thinking renewable, when you're thinking about the environment, you're thinking about keeping things clean, all of that falls in way. Like I said to you the other day when I went to Miss Dean a few months ago, that was my first time when I realized that we have a lot of young, particularly young ladies, that have a keen interest in our environment. And that is something that I was very impressed with. And I'm hoping that a lot of the young guys are going to be interested, and that we can teach them this. We can show them that this is the way forward, because that's the only how we're going to get to that mindset that we start thinking that way and pass it on to everybody else.
Well, as we go into the news break, I think that mindset existed, that our parents and their parents and their parents' parents, that's the way they live, right? They understood the mantra. Cleanliness is next to godliness. They lives a clean, healthy lifestyle. For some reason, for us in recent times, we haven't. Let's pause. Let's take a break. Come back. We invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Follow Radio K-Man on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio K-Man.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Central Planning Authority Board meets tomorrow. 5 appearances are on the agenda, the first of 2022. In international news, a senior Chinese arms control official denied Tuesday that his government is rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal, though he said it is taking steps to modernize its nuclear forces. Director General of the Foreign Ministry's Arms Control Department said China is working to ensure its nuclear deterrent meets the minimum level necessary for national defense. A leading expert who helped create the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine said Tuesday that giving everyone in the world booster shots multiple times a year is not feasible. Professor Andrew Pollard, the director of the Oxford Vaccine Group and head of the UK's Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, told the Daily Telegraph in an interview published Tuesday, "We can't vaccinate the planet every 4 to 6 months. It's not sustainable or affordable." And drivers have been stranded for hours on Interstate 95 in eastern Virginia, some from Monday into Tuesday morning because of a severe winter storm that has sent authorities scrambling to clear a path. The vehicles were stuck on portions of a 50-mile stretch on I-95 in the Fredericksburg area between Richmond and Washington, D.C., partly because of disabled trucks blocking the way in snowy and icy conditions. That according to the Virginia Department of Transportation. Those are your latest headlines. I'm Shanna Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back, and thanks for sharing your afternoon, your thoughts and your comments. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255 or WhatsApp 925-3261. Thanks to Nobi for making the drive and taking some time out of work and share with us. As I listen to what our callers were sharing, as I truly think on what you're helping us to appreciate, the environment is without question important for our very survival. But when we think of the cost of doing nothing, and sometimes the cost of government's true allocation of the tax revenues, sometimes we need to question, should we spend more? Should we spend it elsewhere to get not just value for money, but an effective allocation of scarce resources? Money borrowed or taxed is to be used in the most effective way. Do you think as a society we look at how some of us, without any regard, just toss things wherever, whenever? Some of us don't ask, well, should government be doing this or not doing this? Or some of us, we ask so much of government without considering, well, how is government going to do that? How are they going to pay for it? And if they pay for it by taking money from here to put there or raise taxes, then what is the consequence of that? Are we sufficiently engaged? Are we sufficiently mindful of what is happening and receptive to any question, whether it's a critical sort of analysis, whether it's just a numbing complaint? I mean, are we at that stage yet?
I know.
Maturity, they say. Wisdom comes with the years.
Yeah.
But he who is willing to listen might hear.
Yeah. Well, I get lost sometimes.
but Nobi, it is a new year, right?
Yeah.
And I think, as we started out saying at the outset, for some of us, we have no clue what others face. And not that they're not trying to share, that they're trying to hide, or they put on, a facade, or their mask, what have you. It's not that. It's just that they understand that their problems. What does my brother used to tell me? Yeah, he was listening, can't help, and who can help not listening? Sometimes they say it don't make sense, complain, right? Some were just very positive and say, well, where there's light, there's hope. Where there's hope and strength, there's probably help, and there's something to happen. So they press on. Because to give up, well, it's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we find that positiveness? Where do we find that energy? When for some of us we've been digging, there's nothing left.
Yeah, well, it has to be a comfort. You got to find comfort in something that you can keep on going after. And,
it's like a country song, man. Comfort in something new.
Fortunately, I find comfort in coming on the radio. Comfort in going fishing.
Yeah.
Comfort in just spending some time with my dogs.
Yeah.
That gives me the push to keep on going and doing some things, right?
Yeah. Make time for yourself. Huh?
But I also find comfort in being honest and open about everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. Because, a lot of people, whether they speak through social media or whether they don't speak, it seems like everything in their life is perfect, right? And yours is, and you be there wondering like, well, how is this, right? But I learned not to pay attention too much to that.
Mm-hmm.
But
true.
But display my message and what's there, and and it's not about me. It's usually about what's going on around me. Mm-hmm. I keep on saying, be inspired by your surroundings. So I'm basically inspired by my surroundings.
Well, you got good surroundings, man.
Hence my reason coming on here talking about Collier's Pond and trying to preserve things.
Let's take this other call.
Yeah.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I am thankful and blessed, as you always say, drinking from my saucer.
Your cup overflowing now?
Yeah. Yes, and first of all, let me wish you all the best for the new year.
Yeah, man. Same to you.
Yeah.
Same to you.
And just a few comments on some of the topics. I've heard some, and anyway, a couple of things that I can call them my pet peeves or things that I've been talking about for a long time. One is regarding the transportation, cars. I heard you all talking earlier about should people on work permits be allowed to have cars, and that's one of the things that has been brought forward. But the problem is that people are forced to have a car. A lot of people that drive in cars, really, if they had a choice, if they had some other choice of reliable transportation, I don't think they would have a car, especially those on work permits and those that are on the lower end of the pay scale,
Mm-hmm.
Because to buy and maintain and operate a car is not cheap. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have so many unlicensed and uninsured vehicles on the road, because they have to get a car for transport, for work or whatever, and then thereafter they can't afford to insure it or to license it,
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because there's no reliable and comprehensive public transport in Cayman after all these years. And we keep talking about it, and it's come up, when there's a particular bad traffic situation, people will call and talk. But, various governments or administrations after administrations have come, and nothing has really been done to address this problem. And until that is addressed, until we put in place a proper, reliable, comprehensive public transport system that gives people a choice, an alternative to get around, then we can't really tell people that they can't buy a car because they need to get around,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a kind of tricky situation. And I think that the longer that it takes to be put in place, it's the more selling, the harder the sell is going to be to get people to give up their cars until we get to that stage where, it's total gridlock all the time, which we know happens in Georgetown certain times,
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, until that problem is addressed, I don't think that we can really, force people or tell people that they can't have a car. The other point about people coming in and buying cars and selling cars, now that can be dealt with, because I know or I've heard of situations like that, people on work permit who are bringing in cars to sell, and the authorities need to really look into that and put a clamp down on that if that's the case, But the fact about telling them that they can't own a car now, that's something else, Secondly, is regarding the environment, cleaning it up, because it really peeves me when I see, the garbage and the stuff, the litter that people throw on the side of the roads or in a vacant lot round the corner where they think nobody will see it, It amazes me how they can haul it, carry it, and put it on a vacant lot where they can't take it down to the dump, And again, we have the law and all that in place, but I've never heard of anybody ever being prosecuted for littering as much as we see the litter on the roads, And the point about the young man raised about, having to clean up year round or at least for extended periods of time, which is a good point because, every year around November, December, they do this cleanup, but there's no way that they can properly cover the districts, particularly West Bay, Town, the amount of areas that, that you have to cover in 1 week or 2 weeks. There's no way. That's why weeks after the cleanup or the so-called, you still see stuff piled up that they haven't picked up or whatever, So I think, like he said, that needs to be outside. Like if they're going to do it, do at least a month for each district. And on the other hand, then playing devil's advocate, if we do keep continually cleaning up, then would that encourage people to then say, well, I know they're coming to clean up, so I can just dump the stuff over yonder,
This is where that responsibility comes in, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we need to encourage responsibility. And you have a few people. I used to be here, I used to do that, thinking throw stuff out your car window as you're driving or you're walking, you eat in a can or whatever, you just drop it on the road. I find myself now, even if it's a candy wrapper, I'll take it and put it in my car or put it in my pocket until I can get to a place where I can dispose of it properly. And, but that's just me. We can't force people. People have to take that responsibility onto themselves. But like Nobi said, we have to start teaching the young ones. You'd be surprised to know how conscious, environmental conscious and all that they are. And we need to encourage them into doing that. They're the ones who will even tell their parents, you shouldn't throw that there. So,
you're right, man.
But we need to really start working on that. Inculcating that it's a difficult thing. How do you inculcate, that self-pride? A lot of it is people that not even from here. Where they come from, they used to doing that. The other day I saw a guy, who had a bottle drinking water and sitting in his car and threw it out. I hollered at him, and tried to stop him. Hey, man, you can't, but drove off, and I know it wasn't a Cayman gun, and not saying that, okay, man, people don't do it as well, but, people come from different jurisdictions where it's the norm, for them to see garbage piled up on the road, and then that's not really an important thing. So they just come here and do the same thing, We need to change, somehow get into the mindset, people to have pride and civility in the environment, in the place where you live, even if it's not your home per se, that you're not from Cayman, but you're living here, and the environment is part of where you have to operate. So if you're going to be here, take care of the place.
Yeah.
And the third point, I don't want to be too long with it. I just want to pass this on. I hope somebody from the NRA is listening or can pass it on. When they're getting ready to do the trimmings, the cutting of the bush on the side of the road, to have like a group or like the guys that pick up the stuff come and pick up the trash, the bags and the stuff that's there, because when that lawnmower thing goes through and cut up all the stuff, it looks worse after they cut it than when it was before, because you got all the old bags and papers and cans and stuff all cut up and litter, and then the wind is blowing them all over the place, So if they could just do a little pick-up clean-up before they know they're going to mow in this particular area, they'll send out a crew and pick up all the stuff that's there before the lawnmower comes along and then makes it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
So, just a few thoughts.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing those, man.
Thank you very much, man.
All right. Blessings to you, man. Blessings.
Okay, good.
All right. Let's see if we can take a couple of other callers online. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Mr. Darlene?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, every one of them want an opinion still, but this is my opinion. The public transport system, want no more public transport, because you can get a bus, can take you anywhere you want to go. If you go south town, up in Newland, just a bus in the morning running empty. If you get a proper transportation, public transportation, I don't know where they're going to put vehicles and get people to put into them. Because people who have them car, they're not going to leave it and take a bus. Other people. So everybody have them one opinion, And the other thing again, with the cars, where people bringing in, as where someone said, they're bringing the car them to sell. If you look on the street, everywhere you look, you see a car with a write-up chalk mark on it. Car for sale. Those things, them to stop, Them to stop those type of foolishness, because too much car park on the roadside. If you go out of airport park, you see, as I turn inside the park, you see cars on the road there for months and weeks, them there with signs for sale. Them to stop those. But the public transport, you don't have no more roads to put a bigger transportation. Otherwise, in the day, you're not going to have nobody to take them. Where you going to park them? There's a lot of minibus on the road and a lot of taxis. See them bringing all Uber. You have to say Uber taxi is here. The other regular taxi people, them can hardly even get a fare now. So anyway, Mr. Sterling, have a blessed day. Every one of them want an opinion, okay?
Yep. Blessings. And the caller makes some valid points. His uptake is also enforcement. Fox will say, what final break is that? Well, look how time flies, man. Well, this is the final break. I don't know if he comes back. He'll share from his wealth as he pour from his cup. Let us be imbued by his knowledge. Stay tuned. We'll talk today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Water Authority Cayman would like to inform its customers that the public water service in Cayman Brac, east of the intersection of Cross Road and West End East Road, will be interrupted from 12 a.m. midnight to 4 a.m. on Wednesday, 5th January. The service interruption is necessary to facilitate investigative work on the Cayman Brac water distribution system. The Water Authority apologizes for any inconvenience this interruption in service may cause and thanks the public for their patience and understanding.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And thanks too for all who listen and share their thoughts. And for our guests. And today for Nobi for coming in. What I'm hoping and praying for is that as the year goes on, as a people, we'll make constructive commentary. that as we critique certain things, that we do it with a semblance of respect and a genuine desire to improve, not to inflame and offend. Now, that's what we say, and hopefully those who hear it will feel likewise and will accept the status quo and say, okay, can it be improved? Should it be championed? Should it be challenged? But not just for change's sake, but for better. And not necessarily better for us or for now, but better. We use the word sustainable. Oh, it should be sustainable development. But do you even know what that means, right? And think of our parents and their parents and their parents. The service and sacrifice of the country. Would our society be where it is today had they not been willing to give up, to work so hard? You know, how many of us ever think, do our parents go to bed hungry? Even today, to ensure that the children are fed, right? And if a society supposedly as rich as this one, having people who are malnourished, who are homeless, people who are worried about employment, people who are fearing for their safety, if we have people who are acting with impunity, is that really a free and fair democratic society? You have to question. You know, you go to the beach and you've been harassed by people or by animals. You're stepping in the droppings of your dog that you were too irresponsible. Or you're walking through your neighborhoods and don't pick up. You know, there's so much that we could address to make the quality of life so much better. But we care not. Anyway, thankful people like you care a lot.
Care some, man.
Yeah, man, you're going to care bears and he must care a lot. Graham go.
But you know, it's a point that you could care, and then you got to realize that there's nothing more you can do. You know, it's beyond you. I've been the only person crying out about Collier's Pond forever, and you know, I kind of wish I had more people coming in support of it that are from the district of East End.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think a lot of people might not see that that's a big concern, or they might just not want to get out there and be controversial like me and talk about an issue.
But the scripture reminds us that a prophet is not without honor, save in his own country, right? If we don't respect and value our own, how do we get to that place where we do? But if you look at what we shared earlier, we're busy, genuinely trying to make ends meet. We are so caught up on this speed of life that when we move on, we don't see anything. We don't stop, right? I love going to Barkas, but for a genuine pull to go there, you know, I can tell you, I can count the last time I went. Regrettably, how many of us have stopped by the wayside on the way home and looked at colliers, see when it's dry or wet after the rains, looked at the birds and realized, hey, that's a new bird I've never seen. We don't appreciate it. Can I share one other thing? I know it's getting time to close. This listener shared this thought to us, right? And again, let me just read it first and then see what commentary. It says, Happy New Year and good afternoon. A good program to begin the new year. So I was upset last week when I was told that the individual who was being displaying herself and her complaints at the government admin building and the governor's residence is continuing to loiter and disgrace her community. Although the Premier has said on radio she's not a threat to herself or others, the behaviour would not be acceptable with anybody else. So much emphasis is being expressed about mental health and help that is available. If her complaints about the doctors serving our islands can be proven, there are legal ways to deal with the situation. If not, this presence and behaviour should have been addressed and enforced yesterday. From Linford Pearson Highway to the governor's residence to the government building. Enough is enough. Thank you for reading this. I read that just prior to the break, and I was looking at it and asking, freedom of expression and individual assembly and the ability to protest versus public norms and mores and the like. And I'm wondering where we are with so many things. We accept this from somebody. We talked about beach access and the building of structures near watermarks or other things. We accept some, but we condone others for the same thing. I wonder where we are. And it must be confusing, conflicting, probably confounding for some when they look at something and go, well, there's no precedent. This was okay today, but not yesterday.
Yeah, well, one of the things I think is that we have a new government,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to give them time.
Yeah,
and they're working at it,
Indeed,
right?
indeed.
And some of them might have egos that they need to inflate, but sorry, deflate. Right? But really, we need to actually give them some time till they can get around to
and work with
touching on some of those areas.
Yeah, and work together, man. All right. So your prayer
crack me up.
They say laughter is good medicine. Yeah. If we don't laugh sometimes, Anyway, fella told someone that they say, "Boy, it's a good thing you don't smile often. Your face will crack."
Yeah.
All right. So what do you want to see for this country and for its people as we look at today's program, Dwayne?
It's hard. I don't know what to say because first of all, this is the first time that I would say, boy, I need to look out to see what I need for me, and that because each day, each year getting tougher, and maybe I'm overthinking it, but seeing that 2020 was what it was, 2021 was a little bit difficult, and yes, we might get some renewed hope of our economy bouncing back, but we still don't know what 2022 is going to bring.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that people got to consider. I mean, I'm getting older by the day. My birthday is coming up in the next couple of days, and we got to think about securing ourselves when we get unwell, as we age. We gotta think about keeping ourselves in good shape. And everybody has the daily grind to try and bring in enough income to take care of themselves, right?
Right. So is that the thing then, right? There's that individual responsibility for our health and well-being, the exercise, trying to ensure we eat properly and appropriately, right?
Yeah.
Midnight snack, versus trying to not eat after a certain time.
Well, I do a lot of midnight snack. Yeah, but I got you.
Yeah, there was a time when I did too, but it's interesting, right? And
but I think that the people always say that, I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, the main thing is this virus, and if we're going to be good coming 2022, and if there's going to be more developments on different strains or what have you, and I think everybody is wondering about how are people going to be affected in another 10 years or 5 years.
Right. As we close up before we come back, we will play a song, UB40. What was it called?
Bring Me Your Cup.
Bring Me Your Cup, right? And when I ask that, let's interject so that we can get it queued up shortly, right? You talk about where things are as a people. We talk about the individual responsibility, the collective responsibility. I wonder if we are starting to appreciate, in the Cayman context now, the need for that entrepreneurial spirit to be harnessed, to be encouraged and nurtured, right? But also the social consciousness, so the health that you talked about, the healthcare as we age. Should our society look more closely, seriously, conscientiously about how we're going to look after the health and well-being of our people, so that as we go along, not just when we get to a certain age or something afflicts us, but all along that there's a social consciousness about health and well-being and education likewise, so that those expenses aren't so significant now that they become almost impossible later on when we are no longer working. When you think about it, if your life expectancy is at 70, 80, you work to 65, 70, think about it.
I think the government now is looking at an insurance that to cover all people over a certain age.
Yeah, well,
I think that's what I can recall. But I think preventative is better than trying to treat.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
So a lot of people I've seen recently, before they never seen walking on the road, never seen exercising. Then they got sick, and now they need to exercise.
But this is why...
And, that's not their fault because we're so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't get into the, doing some exercise. You exercise can be anything, working in your yard, going and doing something strenuous, walking, taking a bike ride, all these things that actually is good for you. And I think it's preventative. I think if one thing needs to be done, although our insurances do have some room for preventative treatments or whatever, things to prevent certain things from happening, like your teeth, checking your teeth regularly, doing the x-rays and all that. I think if more could be put in place in our health insurances for preventative things, and many of our businesses put in place, gym, going to the gym, or make that something that they can provide for their staff, or different things like that they can keep healthy. I also think growing your own, growing at home. I did it for a while. I slowed back now, but growing your fruits and vegetables and cooking those, and it's a great exercise, and it's nothing like eating your own, right?
It's one thing to get a meal that was prepared by somebody. Yeah. It's one thing to prepare a meal yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And so maybe as we look at what lies ahead, we start to think more.
I really hope that I continue to be well too, but I can say to you that even though I have asthma, which I treat, which I didn't have to, I do the bicycles for that reason, to try and strengthen my lungs. And I should be doing more recently, but I generally feel that exercise and eating well is the way to go.
The way to go, man.
Yeah.
No, we always appreciate you, know. And I think like the caller alludes to the bicycles. If we address the safety of the roads, maybe more of us would take to it. And not just the drivers, the dogs as well. And other road users, sometimes we not consider it. That impacts our health and well-being. Getting the physical exercise, getting the sunshine, getting the fresh air. It's time, I think, that the country...
And go fishing sometime, man. Just go fishing.
You know what?
Catch yourself a fish.
I appreciate the invitation. I think we should do that. Yeah. I think I need to go fishing and cast my rod in another pond, see where it takes us. All right, man. Thanks very much, right?
All right.
All right. To our listeners, thank you very much. God's willing, I'll be here again tomorrow. Thank you for your time and your attention, your contribution. Make your comment, your queries constructive. Make them be something that are positive and productive. As we serve to nurture each other, let's make sure that we understand our responsibility. For whom much is given, much is required. Until tomorrow, my friends, be blessed.